Good afternoon, and welcome to the inauguration of William F. Tate IV, the 22nd president of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. We ask that you kindly rise at your seats for the academic procession. Entering the Great Hall on your left, the Rutgers University gonfalon, carried by University Senate Chief Lucille Foster, will lead the academic procession. Following the University gonfalon will be members of the Board of Governors, Board of Trustees, Foundation Board of Directors, the Executive Leadership Team, Deans of the academic schools, and delegates from colleges and universities far and wide. Now entering the Great Hall, Dr. William F. Tate IV, the 22nd President of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, preceded by the University Mace and members of the Platform Party. Ms. Amy Towers, Chair of the Board of Governors.
This is great. Good afternoon. It is truly a privilege to stand among so many esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, and dear friends this afternoon. It is my honor, on behalf of the Board of Governors of Rutgers University, to welcome you to this beautiful place and this historic day for our university. The inauguration of Dr. William Tate IV, 22nd President of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. Today, we gather in celebration of both tradition and transformation, a moment that allows us to look back with great pride on more than 2.5 centuries of accomplishments, and also to look forward with confidence and anticipation of the future that we will all build together. Since its founding as Queens College in 1766, Rutgers has stood strong as a pillar of learning, discovery, and public service for the state of New Jersey, for our country, and for the world. Over the years, we've evolved from a small colonial college into one of the nation's top public academic research institutions, with a vibrant community of more than 70,000 students, 20,000 faculty and staff, and nearly $1 billion of funded research each year. Together, our students and faculty drive breakthroughs and innovations that change lives, advance knowledge, and strengthen communities in New Jersey and well beyond. This inauguration is not only the beginning of a new presidency, it is a reaffirmation of our shared mission together, excelling in academic achievement, providing meaningful access to higher education, and serving the greater public good. Welcome again to this momentous and exciting day of pride, purpose, and promise. Welcome to Rutgers.
We ask now that you please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave, the brave.
Pastor Renee F. Brown of Mount Zion Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, will now deliver the invocation.
Every head bowed, every eye closed. Shall we pray? Eternal God, our Father, we thank you. We thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Not just a beautiful day from a weather perspective, but a beautiful day with this institution, Rutgers University. We thank you, God, for this pleasure that you've given us to gather together to celebrate in this momentous occasion. We realize and recognize that this is your doing, and we know it is pleasing in your sight. And so, God, we ask that your Spirit would be in this place. We invoke your presence today on every participant and everything that takes place in this service. But then, Father, we also ask that you be with this leader, that as he takes the rank of leadership and he continues to assemble his team together, God, we pray that your Spirit would be upon him, that your presence would be upon him, just as it was David, that every battle that he has to fight, he realizes and recognizes all he needs is one stone. And with that one stone, you can take down all of the Goliaths that he will have to face. He did it in Baton Rouge. He'll do it here. We expect nothing but the best and the greatest because we know who he follows and who he serves. We pray your continued covering on him. And for every person that works along with him, they understand that this is anointing that you've placed on him, and everybody else will benefit as long as we support him and push him. We'd be so careful to give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mr. James M. Williams, co-managing partner at Shahardy Sherman Williams, will now deliver remarks.
Good afternoon. My name is James Williams. I am a current member of the Louisiana State University Board of Supervisors and a past chairman of the board. I want to acknowledge my colleagues who are here today, past chairman of the board, Valencia Jones, Board of Supervisor member Collis Temple, and Board of Supervisor member Randy Morris. It's also good to see former First Lady, well, our former, your current First Lady, Kim Cash Tate. Kim, we miss your spirit on campus. You know, we miss the spiritual leadership that she provided to our student athletes. The Tates, I don't have to tell y'all, but the Tates are truly a dynamic duo. I chuckle to myself at all of our home games. We have a university suite where we entertain donors and legislators, and the bartenders, you know, serve the drinks and the food. And they still to this day, where is Bill? They still to this day wear buttons that say touchdowns with the Tates. That lets you know the impact they had on LSU as a couple. I'm extremely honored. I was very honored and touched that Bill asked me to share a few words on this occasion. We're here today to honor one man, William F. Tate IV. But to actually do justice to the occasion, there are three men I need to tell you about. The first is Bill Tate, the candidate. The second is Bill Tate, the president. And the third is Bill Tate, the friend. I chaired the LSU Presidential Search Committee in 2021 when we hired William Tate IV to become the 28th president of Louisiana State University. It was a tumultuous time for us. We were going through COVID, and we were embroiled in a national scandal over our treatment of female students on campus. We needed a leader who could restore confidence in our ability to be welcoming, I know these are bad words now, but to be welcoming and inclusive to everyone. We needed a leader who could finally tap into our vast research potential with all of our oil and gas and natural resources. We needed a leader who could push academic success to the top of the priority list at a university where football had been king. We needed one person who could do the job of two people, a president of our system who would oversee 8 campuses, our legislative agenda, and all of our fundraising, while simultaneously serving as the chancellor of our main campus, shepherding scholarship and student success. We needed a president, in the words of a poem we had to learn while pledging my fraternity, we needed a president who could walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. Many times throughout our search process, Randy and Valencia and Collis, we lamented the role that we needed to fill at that time at LSU. We often said it just might be too much. Frankly, y'all, we needed a miracle. And we got Bill Tate. You know, Louisiana requires an open and public process to select its president. That's how y'all were able to steal Bill from us. Y'all don't have that. All applicants are made known to the public. All application materials and correspondence are available to the public, and interviews for the job are conducted in a public meeting streamed on the internet for all to see. Applying to be the president of a university under these circumstances requires courage, faith, and belief in oneself. From the very first conversation I had with Bill Tate to gauge his interest in applying for the position, through all the conversations we had until he applied, do you know Bill Tate never, ever, ever asked, do I have the inside track on the job? What are my chances of getting it? Am I the favorite? The only thing Bill ever asked me was, is the playing field gonna be even? All he ever wanted to know was, will I have the same shot as everybody else? He was confident in his ability to compete and win if he could just get a fair opportunity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't even close. Bill's rare combination of intellect and charisma and energy blew everyone away. Comparing the other candidates to Bill was like comparing apples to the PATH train. In a region of the country, and I love where I'm from, but I gotta be honest, I keep it real, 100 as the children say. In a region of the country that had a history of overlooking the most qualified people based on the amount of melanin in their skin, Bill Tate was unanimously voted by the Board of Supervisors to become the 28th president of Louisiana State University and the first African American to become president of any of the schools that make up the Southeastern Conference. I want you to think about that. That's Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina. Missouri, and Louisiana. He was the first among them all. But then we had to go from Bill Tate, the candidate, to the second man I want to tell you about, Bill Tate, the president. With all the enthusiasm and excitement surrounding Bill's hire, it was natural to wonder if he could actually deliver. Not every decision that looks good is good. I don't know who plays dominoes in here, but they say all money ain't good money. LSU just had a very public and expensive example of how all that glitters is not gold. Thankfully, Bill turned out to be the genuine article. Bill led what can only be described as an LSU renaissance. During his presidency, we experienced a 50%, I'm talking about from the day he got there to the day he left now, a 50% increase in research expenditures. 50%. We had 4 consecutive years of record freshman classes. We had the largest gift by more than double in the history of the university. We grew online enrollment by 82%. We had record appropriations from the legislature and 4 athletic national championships. 6. I want to see if you're paying attention or if you're back there sleeping. But you know the best indicator of the job Bill Tate did as president of LSU? It's the number of times his name came up during the search for his replacement. It started happening so often, I show up to search committee meetings, I start playing a little game with myself. I would sit down and try to predict how many times Bill Tate's name would come up, and I was always too low. I took notes so I could share with Bill, and I haven't done it up to this point, the comments that were uttered in public meetings as we searched for the person to replace Bill Tate. Clarence Casalot, who you know, Bill, said, Bill Tate had all of the qualities we were looking for in a president. The faculty senate president said, the faculty and staff just want a president that will continue doing what Bill Tate was doing. We started arguing about whether or not even though Bill did them both, we started arguing about whether or not one person could do those 2 jobs, and Roger Ogden said, I saw Bill Tate do it. Ryan Terrio, former baseball player at LSU, says, our president left us in a great position. Our Boyd professor, which is our highest honor on our campus for a faculty member, said, we must continue the scholarship first agenda created by Bill Tate. And finally, on the day we were going to vote, before we went into deliberations to pick Bill's predecessor, a student took the microphone during public comment and urged the board to pick a president, saying, Bill Tate showed us what a president should be. Bill's departure from LSU was bittersweet for me and all of us from LSU who are here today. I can remember the first time I saw Bill, we ran into each other. I was on vacation, he doesn't vacation, he was working. But we ran into each other. Coincidentally, we were 5 blocks away from each other and had no idea. So we connected, and I walked into the restaurant, and he was wearing a Rutgers shirt. I didn't admit it to him because I was happy to see him, but that was hard. It was tough. It made me realize that his departure was real, that it had happened. But I'm reminded of Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, 1st verse, that says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Now in Louisiana, we don't have 4 seasons, we have hot and hotter. But just like the climate changes drastically when the seasons change, the climate in Louisiana changed. And Bill's time at LSU came to a close sooner than many of us hoped. But our loss is New Jersey's gain, as Bill seized the opportunity presented by a new calling, which gives him a better platform to use his time and talents to change the world. Now to Bill Tate, the friend, there's a poem we had to learn while pledging our fraternity. Bill and I share the same fraternity. It says, goodwill is the monarch of this house. Men unacquainted enter, shake hands, exchange greetings, and depart. friends. You see, friend, unlike president, unlike candidate, unlike chancellor, unlike provost, friend is a permanent title that won't change with the seasons. It's a title that will transcend geography, politics, and even salary increases. The beginning of my friendship with Bill is our shared membership in our beloved Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I cherish the time I spent with his brothers from his chapter at Epsilon Phi at Northern Illinois University when they would come down to Baton Rouge and fellowship and do other things I won't say, but involving bourbon. I appreciate the love shown by D. Tate, Bill's brother, who over the years always had a fun spirit and a welcoming smile no matter what was going on. I finally remember Bill and D. Tate taking me to the south side of Chicago while I was there working. We spent 4 years laughing with Bill, cheering with Bill, eating with Bill, drinking with Bill. We've celebrated championships together, family moments together, sometimes late into the night. My wife knows Bill. My children look up to Bill. And my mother, who was prohibited by law from attending LSU in the 1960s, is still mystified at how impressive Bill Tate is. Candidacies come and go, as do presidents. But the friendships that Bill has formed with me and all of us will last a lifetime. So in conclusion, I want to say firsts are powerful. I don't remember the fourth girl I ever kissed, but I remember the first. I don't remember who we played in my 6th game in high school, but I remember the first. I can't remember the 20th time I made jambalaya, but I remember the first. I like to think of Louisiana State University, Bill's first presidency, much like a first love. The people there shaped his heart and sense of purpose. We watched Bill evolve and grow throughout that relationship into the president we see today. New Jersey and Louisiana, no doubt, are very different. You have saltwater taffy, we have gumbo. You have Bruce Springsteen, and we have Lil Wayne. You have Jersey Shore, we have Duck Dynasty. You know, we talk about gumbo. Gumbo is from an African word for okra. And when the enslaved Africans came to America, they brought that African stew, mixed it with the ingredients in Louisiana, and added roux, which the French were famous for. Well, I'd like to think that that's what we've done with Bill. You see, when people think of Louisiana, they think of the heat. And Louisianians know that when somebody asks you about a dish, if they say, "Is that hot?" the follow-up question is, you talking about temperature hot or seasoning hot? Rutgers, we have incorporated the Louisiana heat into Bill Tate as he leads your university. He brings the heat that comes from the sweltering Louisiana sun. I just checked, it's 85 degrees in Louisiana today, okay? But anybody who's been around Bill knows that he has a warmth that produces compassion and a fire that illuminates the path forward and stimulates, just like boiling water, stimulates all of those who are subjected to it. But he also has the heat that comes from the seasonings that define our cuisine. He has a flavor that is unique and unmatched, drawing all to him who want a taste of what he's accomplishing. But he's also spicy when he needs to be bold, in your face, unafraid to present the fullness of his vision. Bill, as you will always have a home in Louisiana, we now consider you one of us. Although you were not born in Louisiana, your historic efforts to improve our state have earned you the right to be a Louisianian. You join a long line of Louisianians who took what they learned from our great state to make their impact on the world. Louis Armstrong, Mahalia Jackson, Ellen DeGeneres, Johnny Cochran, DJ Khaled, Tim McGraw, all from Louisiana, who, like you, had to step beyond the borders of home's familiar horizon to let their light fully shine. No offense, Rutgers, but LSU has the best fans in America. We are raucous, lively, passionate, sometimes too passionate, when we cheer for our teams. President Tate, we now cheer for you with that same enthusiasm as you lead this storied institution. We are yelling as loud as we can and as hard as we can to let you know we admire you, we appreciate you, and we are behind you as you continue to do magnificent things at Rutgers University. Congratulations to the Rutgers Board of Governors on an amazing hire to be your president. And congratulations to President Tate on your next chapter of greatness. Thank you.
Representing the students of Rutgers University, Mr. Adrian Henry, President of the Rutgers-Newark Student Government Association, joined at the podium by Ms. Jennifer Levy, President of the Rutgers-Camden Student Government Association, and Mr. Christopher Godoy, President of the Rutgers University Student Assembly at Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an incredible honor to stand before you today on behalf of the entire Rutgers student body and to be joined by my counterparts from New Brunswick and Camden as we celebrate this historic moment for a university. President Tate, your choice to be inaugurated right here in Newark carries a powerful message because Newark is Rutgers. As one of the most diverse campuses in the nation, it's where every student, no matter their background or circumstance, has the chance to rise, to lead, and to make a difference. Our diversity is not just a statistic. It is our strength. It is the heartbeat of who we are. And in that spirit, Rutgers-Newark truly embodies what it means to win. Your choice also shows that Rutgers is one university, united by shared purpose, rooted in diverse communities, and strengthened by every student who calls this place home. It reminds us that we are all Rutgers, each campus, each story, and each voice. Rutgers students come from every corner of New Jersey and from across the world. We are first-generation college students, researchers, artists, athletes, activists, and dreamers. We come here because Rutgers opens doors to opportunity, transformation, and endless possibility. And that, too, is a win. And that is why student voices matter. Rutgers has always been stronger when students are at the table, when our ideas help shape the decisions that impact our lives, our learning, and our future. Whether through student government, activism, or advocacy, our voices keep this university accountable, compassionate, and forward-looking. A university that listens to its students is a university that never stops growing. Our vision for Rutgers is bold, a university that leads with empathy, that continues to open doors for those that have been left out, and that treats access to education as a promise and not a privilege. We want a Rutgers where winning, as you often say, President Tate, means seeing every student succeed. Winning isn't just about rankings or awards. It's about persistence. It's about community. It's about the student who works 2 jobs but still finds the strength to finish the degree. It's about turning adversity into achievement. That is what it means to win the Rutgers way. And so today, we celebrate not just inauguration, but a new chapter in Rutgers' story, one built on unity, purpose, and hope. President Tate, you've brought energy, vision, and conviction to this role today. And we celebrate your leadership and commitment to every member of this community. Because when our students, faculty, and leadership move together, when we listen, build, and dream together, Rutgers doesn't just move forward, Rutgers rises. And when Rutgers rises, Rutgers wins. And so on behalf of Rutgers-Newark, Rutgers-Camden, Rutgers-New Brunswick, and our colleagues at Rutgers Health, I say congratulations, President Tate. We are proud to stand with you as we write the next chapter of Rutgers history together. Thank you.
Ms. Lucille Foster, Chair of the Rutgers University Senate.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Rutgers-Newark campus. We're so happy to have you here today. It is my profound honor and privilege to stand before you today at this historic inauguration to extend, on behalf of the Rutgers University Senate, our heartfelt congratulations to President William Tate IV. I had the distinct honor of serving on the Presidential Search Committee in the spring of 2025. Our charge was to identify a transformative and visionary leader, one whose experience, integrity, and character would reflect Rutgers' core values and whose presence would inspire a genuine sense of connection and purpose across all campuses. On paper, he was impressive. In person, he surpassed every expectation. When the search committee first met him, he requested a Zoom meeting after his regular work hours, a simple gesture that spoke volumes about his integrity and dedication. Appearing on screen in a button-down shirt with approachability and a commitment to engage without pretense. Since stepping foot in New Jersey on July 1, he's demonstrated a hands-on, inclusive, immersive, and deeply human approach. From day one, his approach with the Senate has been to engage, listen, learn, and respond. Too often, people focus narrowly on a leader's past experiences or on decisions made at a specific moment in time. I do not. True leadership cannot be measured solely by snapshots of the past. It is revealed through one's capacity to navigate the present with integrity, clarity, and courage. As a leader, you are immersed in the fluid reality of an ever-changing landscape, continuously absorbing new information, weighing competing priorities, and responding within the complex and dynamic ecosystem that is Rutgers. I do not draw comparisons between President Tate and any of his predecessors. He stands on his own merit, a leader uniquely equipped for this moment in our institution's history. His intellect, empathy, and decisiveness reflect a deep understanding that progress at Rutgers is not achieved through replication of the past, but through bold, inclusive, and forward-looking action. President Tate continues to embody the values that define our institution: integrity, excellence, and service. Across the nation, academic policies and longstanding educational principles are being tested, while international students and scholars face renewed uncertainties regarding their visa status and ability to pursue their work. In the midst of these challenges, President Tate stands as a leader of resolve and empathy, one who not only understands the complexity before us, but is steadfast in his commitment to confront them alongside us, ensuring that Rutgers remains a place of opportunity, inclusivity, and academic freedom for all. Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." President Tate embodies this truth each and every day, turning vision into action through perseverance, collaboration, and an unwavering belief in what is possible. In every sense, he is the right leader for this pivotal moment in Rutgers' history, and we are profoundly grateful for his steady hand and unwavering commitment. Thank you, President Tate, and congratulations from the Rutgers Senate.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson, Chair of the Rutgers University Board of Trustees.
It's really an honor to stand before you here today. I have the privilege to address you through my role as chair of the Board of Trustees. That board holds a significant place in Rutgers history. It was the original governing board of the university prior to Rutgers becoming the State University of New Jersey. The trustees have seen the university grow from its colonial roots to the flourishing institution that we have today. I've also been blessed with the opportunity to witness a small piece of that history. No, I wasn't there when the original charter was signed. My connection to Rutgers began in the 60s as an undergraduate student. Yeah, that's 60 plus years for those of you who are counting, and 6 Rutgers presidents, 3 or 4 of which I got to know very well. During that period, I've had the opportunity to witness each of those presidencies from a different perspective, as a student, an alumnus, a mentor and advisor, and then a member of and now chair of a governing board. So that was 7 decades. But through that period, one point emerges very clearly. It's very important to have the right leader in place. But that leader must be equipped to deal with the challenges and opportunities that face the university at the moment. Society changes very rapidly, and so do the needs of students. Our students change with it, as do those challenges and opportunities that the new president will face. Among those roles at this university, serving on the search committee for the 22nd president is one that I truly cherish. I know there are others in the room who also served on that committee, but I cherish it because I was able to give perspective of who the right person would be for this moment. And as everybody in the room knows, we're in a particularly unique moment in history, a moment where Rutgers faces some of its greatest challenges, but also its greatest opportunities. I've known President Tate for a comparatively short time, but it was obvious even in our initial interactions that he has a unique way of looking at the world and at higher education and thinking through the problems of both. I guess that makes sense. Dr. Tate is a social scientist, a mathematician, an epidemiologist, an economist, and probably most important of all, he is a proven, gifted leader in higher education, even in organizational structures as complex as that of Rutgers. I can say with complete confidence and conviction that William F. Tate IV is the right person for this moment. He is the person that will push Rutgers toward its path to win, to grow as a premier public research institution, and he will leverage and amplify the many strengths of the university, including faculty, students, staff, and alumni, to get us there. I can't wait to see what President Tate how he will bring us to the future as we travel that path together. And so, speaking for a moment on behalf of the full Board of Trustees, Dr. Tate, Mrs. Tate, welcome to Rutgers University and welcome to New Jersey.
Ms. Amy Towers, Chair of the Rutgers University Board of Governors.
Hello again. As we prepare to officially install Dr. William F. Tate IV as the 22nd president of Rutgers University, I would like to reflect on the journey that brought us here and on the promise of this moment. When the Board of Governors began the search for our next president, we knew the responsibility ahead of us was profound. I was going to get into a brief description, but Mr. Williams has done that far better than I could and with far more charisma. We were in the same boat. Rutgers is a university with a wonderful storied past. It is a national leader in higher education, a research powerhouse, and a symbol of opportunity and excellence that reaches far beyond New Jersey's borders. We sought an experienced leader, a visionary, a motivator with passion and enthusiasm, and a skilled communicator to chart a bold path forward. Someone who would build upon our rich history and years of accomplishments while confidently guiding our university through an era of unprecedented change and challenge to higher ed and the world more broadly. We conducted a comprehensive nationwide search, one well informed by the voices and values of our entire Rutgers community. I want to thank the Presidential Search Committee for their dedication, authenticity, and commitment to our core values and purpose during this process. Throughout our search, one candidate distinctly stood above all others with his intellect, his integrity, and his unwavering belief and commitment to the transformative power of education. We found that leader in Dr. William F. Tate IV. Dr. Tate brings to Rutgers a deep commitment to scholarship, a drive for innovation, an absolute passion for life, and a deep belief that our university's greatest strength is our people. Our faculty, staff, students, and alumni who all embody the Rutgers spirit of resilience and possibility. Under Dr. Tate's thoughtful and intentional leadership, we will continue to build on Rutgers' notable achievements, expanding access and opportunity to students from every background, deepening our research outcomes and our economic contributions to our state, and strengthening our role as a leading public institution serving the greater good for generations to come. Today marks the beginning of a new era for Rutgers, an era that honors our vibrant past while embracing the opportunities of the future with confidence and courage, energy, and excitement. On behalf of the Board of Governors, it is my privilege to officially welcome Dr. William F. Tate IV to Rutgers University and to the presidency of one of the greatest public universities in the country. Dr. Tate, congratulations and welcome. And now, I wasn't supposed to sit down. I got all excited. And now, before we get to the central purpose of this significant ceremony, I'd like to thank all who have spoken on behalf of the Rutgers community to welcome Dr. Tate with open arms and welcoming hearts. Mr. Johnson and Dr. Tate, will you please join me at the podium? The university's authority as an institution of higher education derives from a charter issued to the trustees at Queens College by William Franklin, governor of the colony of New Jersey in 1766, and regranted and amended in an amended form in 1770. In 1825, the name of the institution was changed to Rutgers College in honor of revolutionary leader, businessman, and benefactor, Colonel Henry Rutgers. Our designation as New Jersey's land-grant institution came in 1864, when we forged a special relationship with the state of New Jersey, and in 1956, the Board of Trustees consented to legislation that fully established Rutgers as an instrumentality of the state and created the Board of Governors. Excellence at Rutgers does not stand still, as proven by landmark legislation in 2012 that brought us Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, now a cornerstone of Rutgers University, with the largest and most complex merger in the history of higher education. As we stand on the threshold of a new chapter in Rutgers' storied history, we are reminded that this institution is not only built to endure, it is designed to lead. With a steadfast commitment to world-class education, groundbreaking research, innovative solutions, and advanced healthcare, Rutgers continues to shape the future with purpose and with vision. Today, as we invest our new president, we reaffirm our shared dedication to excellence and our belief in the transformative power of this great university. Dr. William F. Tate IV, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors and with the advice and consent of the Board of Trustees, I ask that Mr. Kenneth Johnson, Chair of the Rutgers Board of Trustees, present you with a copy of the Rutgers Charter as a symbol of the university president's responsibility and authority to lead, guide, and direct Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey. Dr. Tate. Dr. Tate, I will now bestow upon you the Presidential Medallion. With the university seal and outline of the state of New Jersey, so that you may wear the leaves of ivy and red oak to signify your leadership of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey.
She is not dead yet. Opportunity lives. She's not dead yet. Opportunity lives. Not dead yet. Opportunity lives. Today, I want to share with you my thoughts on opportunity. I begin by recognizing the favorable actions and deeds that have shaped opportunity for me. I offer my heartfelt gratitude to those who gave life and meaning to today's celebration, to all assembled today, all elected officials, including Lieutenant Governor Way, thank you. To the Rutgers Foundation team members, the board office team, communications team, Rutgers Police, the President's Office team, my executive leadership team, thank you for your commitment to excellence. Rutgers-Newark team, under the leadership of Chancellor Smith-Jackson and Provost Robinson, thank you. To Chris Carlin, our Master of Ceremonies, Pastor Renee Brown, James Williams. Wow. Your inspiring words remind us why we're here today. I want to thank Chairwoman Amy Towers. She chairs our Board of Governors, for her leadership and consistent encouragement and warm welcome. Lucille Foster, Chair of the University Senate, you are a courageous and empathetic partner in this work. Trustee Johnson, thank you. To our student government leaders, Adrian Henry for your wonderful words, Christopher Godot, I got it right, I think, Jennifer Levy. Thank you for representing the heart of Rutgers with passion and purpose. And I want to say publicly, thank you for your kindness to me. You forgave me once already. Thank you. Finally, I offer deep thanks to the Count Basie Orchestra under the direction of Scott Barnhart and Carmen Bradford for the beautiful national anthem. Each of you have helped to make this day a true reflection of Rutgers' spirit, excellence, collaboration, and most importantly, opportunity. You remind us she's not dead yet. Opportunity lives. I am blessed today with the presence of many family members and friends from every season of my life, from high school to my undergraduate years to graduate school, along with colleagues and mentors who helped shape my professional path. I'll start with a couple of them. It's off the cuff, as they say. I see right before me Dr. Andre McKenzie, who spent much of his career at St. John's University, but prior to that, while I was an undergrad, he was our mentor and advisor. His words to me were, Tate, remember, be humble. You remember that? Thank you. You know, the Academy is an interesting place. My first real article was done at the University of Wisconsin. Could not have happened, first of all, about my wife, who I'll talk about in a second, but the other person was Gloria Latson-Billings, who joins me today. I learned from them how to actually be a scholar. My first article, the journal, and if you all have been through the process, peer review is rough. The journal editor of my first single-authored article as a scholar at the University of Wisconsin joins us today, Dr. Kofi Lamote. Thank you. You've never not supported, you've always supported. You know, we heard a lot about LSU. They have something called the lakes there. I walk the lakes often. That's how you get your blood pressure down. Anyone who knows me well knows I had a really good relationship with my father. He's no longer with us. But whenever it was difficult, that's who I called. LSU had 6 national championships. It was great, but it was difficult. And every time it got difficult, Dr. Hank Frierson, I called you. I don't even think you knew why. You always picked up. You always called back. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm blessed to have a wonderful wife, Kimberly Cash Tate. Thank you for your prayers, your steady support. Amazing. She's joined by my son, Quentin, our daughter, Cameron. I appreciate you all, and I love you. For more than 40 years, I shared a bond of friendship with a small group. Over that time, I've come to deeply love these brothers from Quigley South and Northern Illinois University, Derek Hicks, Miguel Cruz, Sylvester Davis, Dr. James Mendez joins me, and Daryl Tate. And to Daryl and Kevin Tate, who have been there for all but 2 years of my life. I love you both. Now you might ask, why mention love in a speech about opportunity? Because love says you matter. Opportunity says, because you matter, I will make room for you. The door is open for you. I will fight to keep it open for you. Love creates opportunity. At the civic level, a just society translates love of neighbor into institutions of opportunity, fair access to education, health, security, and a voice in governance. Opportunity is not a handout. It is a door of partnership, and you must walk through and shake hands with your destiny. I walked through the door of opportunity and partnership in Louisiana with my colleagues at LSU. Together, as Mr. Williams pointed out, we set all kinds of records in enrollment, research, philanthropy, and as I corrected him, we did win 6 national championships. I'm honored that several members of the LSU Board of Supervisors are here in support today, including 2 former chairs of that board, Supervisor Sharpie Jones, Mr. Williams, Supervisor Morris, Mr. Collis Temple. This is a distinguished group, and I'm thankful for them. I want to publicly say this group entrusted me with my first presidency in the Deep South, the southernmost place in America. Thank you. And to the Rutgers Board of Governors and Trustees, I offer my sincere thanks for opening the door of leadership at this outstanding institution. Please allow me just a few moments for additional thanks. The senior-most member of my side of the family is present today. Present today is my aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Byron Lagarde. I remember your wedding like it was yesterday. As a boy, I cried. I thought my aunt was leaving me. My beloved mother assured me that that was not the case. I had no idea what it would turn into decades later, a formidable support system, a steady stream of encouragement and love, and of course, your 2 beautiful children, Jennifer and Nathan. Thank you. And on my wife's side of the family, New Jersey's own Brenda Terrell shines as a true example of family. She and her late husband, Lee Verne, spearheaded an annual family reunion in North Carolina every year in August. My wife invited me to attend back in the late 1980s, and I've been a regular ever since. New generations now carry that tradition forward. Watching them grow and recommit to learning and education as a family value year after year has shaped my own mindset, reminding me to push for opportunity. Through more than 3 decades in the academy, I don't think you understand what that event meant for me every year. Every year, I was reminded. And every year I could go back to this thing called a university, this medieval environment, and fight for opportunity. Thank you. The study of opportunity has been a bedrock of my academic research journey. You know, maybe it'll work today. I don't know. There you go. You know, it's not academic talk if you don't have some kind of symbol system. You know, all my professor friends are going to judge me on this. This is where they're going to say, "Hit, that was a good talk." I know how this works. I'm not even going to look at it. Here's the deal. We're all born somewhere. We live in a community. And those communities, they have schools. And they work together. When it's working really, really well, your pre-K through high school and all the informal processes, they have a foundational track. Everybody in those places, they end up in some kind of post-secondary education. Once they make it into post-secondary education, they graduate, and by the way, it's better to flunk out of school than not go to college. The data's clear, empirical reality. But don't flunk out. It gets you new social capital. You move into the workforce, you add value to your community because you can pay taxes, you support your family, you engage civically. It's quite powerful. And then you go back to a community that looks like, just like the zip code that you started in. It's intractable. It happens over and over again. Unfortunately, if you're born in a community where the schools are not as strong, in fact, the realtors will tell you, because they'll say, don't move in that neighborhood. They're real clear about it. And in fact, if you want to know if it's a good community and good schools, you just ask the realtor. They all know. By zip code. If it doesn't go very well, the likelihood of you ending up in post-secondary education is very small. And in fact, it's a high probability you could drop out. And if you end up dropping out, unfortunately, it costs society a lot of money. Sometimes you end up in jail. You certainly don't make as much money as you would if you had matriculated in post-secondary school, so thus it's a negative on tax support. And oftentimes these people are not engaged civically. And just like the other track, they end up back in the zip code like the one they started if they ever left. And that happens over and over and over again. That's called the United States of America. Well, I want to make this personal for you today, if I can. Do you mind? Because for me, it all started on a baseball field. It's where I actually learned that theory. It wasn't in a sociology class. It was in real life. Baseball field, Madden Park, Chicago, Illinois, 38th Street. If you're from Chicago, you know you know. Tough place. At the time, 1973, there was a program called Model Cities. It was designed to deal with poverty in the United States of America. We don't do that kind of thing anymore. But back then, there was a war on poverty. It started for me in this park because they decided that they wanted, and that the person who decided was actually the mayor of the city of Chicago, that he wanted to have a citywide competition. And so we were called from our Little League teams to show up at that park. Scores and scores of young people showed up to try out for 12 spots on the team that would represent, do you all know what that is? That's called the Robert Taylor Homes. I'm just keeping it a buck. Robert Taylor Homes, Stateway Gardens. You know Stateway? You social scientists for sure know. Stateway Gardens. Ida B. Wells housing project. And where I live, Lawless Gardens. These are actual pictures from 1973. This is what it looked like. That's how it played out. Well, as it would happen, I had a good day. And in fact, I had a good couple days because the tryout lasted multiple days. I didn't drop a ball. I hit the ball to right field from the right side, so he's like, this guy can hit the ball anywhere. Lo and behold, on the last day, my name made the cut. And we entered Mayor Daley's tournament. Now, you need to understand this man. You need to understand this man. We got no uniforms. You played in your blue jeans and Converse All-Stars. If you had Converse All-Stars. Some folks had Jeepers. That was real bad if you wore Jeepers. They talked about you like a dog. Had on a sweatshirt, baseball cap, none of them matched. And you show up at Washington Park in Chicago. and you play game after game after game. Now, Mayor Daley, in his infinite wisdom, said, it's a one-and-done tournament. The moment you lose, it's over. Well, we won, and we won, and we won, and we won, and we kept winning. So all of a sudden, we're out of the Washington Park bracket. And they say, you've got to go over to the southeast side, which wasn't very pleasant for those of us who came from this neighborhood. But we went over there, and we won, and we won. Then they said you have to go to the southwest side. Now, those of you who know Chicago know what it means. I'm talking about west of State Street in the Dan Ryan. They call that Canaryville and Bridgeport and places like that. Just read a few books about it. I won't have time today to tell you what that really meant. But we went over there, and we won, and we won. And we won the South Side Little League Championship, which means we had to play the West Side team, the North Side team, East Side team had to all come together. That's the semifinals. Now, this stuff's getting serious, and we're still wearing these ragtag gear. We played a team from the North Side and beat them like thieves. Okay? Now, this is what happened. We ended up playing at White Sox Park in Wrigley Field. And do you know what happened before we got to White Sox Park in Wrigley Field? Somehow the mayor's office found out, and we got uniforms. Isn't that something? And new gloves and cleats. No more playing in Converse All-Stars in dirt. It was quite special. Even matching hats. Something. That's a picture of us with the boss in the Chicago Defender. It says it was a record game. Little League is 6 innings. The game went 12 innings. You see all the smiles on those boys' faces. They say we took the picture after the game. Well, I know that's a lie, because we lost that game. We took those pictures before the game. Now, if you think this is really about baseball, it's not. It's really one glimpse of what I want you to understand about William F. Tate. And you always hear me talking about what? Winning. Because when I was a boy, if you didn't win, you didn't get nothing. That's who I am. I can't change. So when you hear me talking about winning, you understand today from this speech why it mattered. All those kids on that, some years later, that Model City program was still going on. I was in 5th grade at that time. By the time I got to 9th grade, Model Cities was still happening. It was winding down, though. This is late 70s. I ended up in jobs with some of those kids that I played ball with. I didn't like any of them, by the way. We didn't like each other. I'm just telling you how it was. We just wanted to win. I respected them. I didn't like them. You also find out about me when you work with me. I might not like you. But if you get it done, I'm going to fight for you. This is how I am. But I met those kids later, and I realized something radically different had changed. There was a big difference between Lawless Gardens and Stateway Gardens. The opportunity structures just were very, very, very different. Painfully so. I had this school, Holy Angels, largest black Catholic school in the United States of America. An unbelievable intellectual experience. I tell people all the time, I'm not sure I learned much after that other than technical information. It was unreal. This is a picture, and the picture tells the story of the difference in my life and those guys I played ball with. The gentleman in the cap and gowns, that was the class that graduated after me at Holy Angels. They were one class removed from my class. The gentleman wearing the black outfits or the darker outfits, the sweatshirts, that was my class. They came back to graduation at Holy Angels. They all have St. Lawrence on there. It says the rectory, that's Father George Clements. If you know history, you know who Father George Clements is. If you don't know, you need to know. The fact that those men from the prior class came back at an elementary school, a K-12 school, to welcome the graduates from the next class tells you everything about the mindset that was cultivated in that environment. It's very different than a regular school. People always talk about, was it a good school or not? That's a good school. All those men that have St. Lawrence on their jerseys, that priest, that pastor, that school set them up to attend school outside of Chicago, boarding school. All those men, the ones still living, had reasonably good lives based upon the opportunity cycle. There was an intervention that was deep and rich. I learned in my own life, that same man showed up at my school when I was a junior in high school. I had no idea what he was doing there. I said, "What are you doing here?" And so I was just taking care of business. In my adult life, we meet again. He says, "I was coming to check on how you were doing. And I wanted to understand what your experience was like and whether we had adequately prepared you so we could go back to our school and create an articulation arrangement so that any young person can come to that school and be successful." That's what an education is. That's how you do it. How many kids get that today in that opportunity structure I'm talking about? It's by zip code. Well, enter Rutgers. What a place. South Jersey. Camden. I wasn't going to do this, but since James kind of gave me approval, that institution is the 46th ranked public university in the United States of America, 5th best for social mobility, 5th best in the United States of America for social mobility, 5th best. I'm going to say something to you all, because you need to understand who I am. Since taking this job, I've had people say to me, and Chancellor Tillis might not believe this. Where is Chancellor Tillis? You might not believe this, Chancellor Tillis. I've had people say to me, "Don't invest in Camden." I don't think they know who they're talking to. Did you see those pictures of those boys I played baseball with? Do you think I have forgotten who I am? Let me be clear with you today. Not only are they 5th best, we've already talked, you're going to be top 40 in the United States of America. There is a Big Ten law school in Camden, a Big Ten law school, a Big Ten. I am a child of the Big Ten, born in the cradle of it. I understand it better than you folks out east. I'm sorry, but I do. There is a Big Ten law school in Camden. If that school, Camden, was in the SEC, it would be ranked higher than every single school in the SEC, absent those in the AAU. How dare you come to me and say, "We're going to forget about Camden"? Don't play with me. We're going to build that Big Ten brand in Camden. Look out, Philadelphia. We're coming for opportunity. It's not a competition like that baseball game. It's about opening the door. That's what we're going to do. Woo! Newark. Number 9 in the country, in the United States of America for social mobility. Number 9. opening the doors. 36th ranked public university in America. Chancellor. I think you could be 30. I think you could be an R1, Chancellor. This child of the Big Ten says this to you. What cities in the United States have a Big Ten business school, a Big Ten law school, and a Big Ten medical school? Newark. You just have to lean in. So today, at this speech, I give Newark permission to lean in to the Big Ten brand. Lean in. It's yours. I know you all like to talk about anchor institutions, don't you? I hear that a lot in Newark. Anchor yourself in the Big Ten. Oh, I know you don't like it, but you will when we get done. New Brunswick, member of the AAU, Big Ten Athletic Conference, top 16 public in the United States, Middlesex County. Middlesex. I see you, Gary. My Middlesex folks, that's a wonderful governor. Middlesex, I'm going to say this to you, and I mean it. The top 4 biomedical hubs in the United States, San Fran, Boston, DMV, and then they say New Jersey. That's what they tell me. I want Middlesex to pass the DMV. That means Rutgers, the university, 16 is not good enough. We need to be a top 10 public university. We need to lean into our research. That's right. It is right now the second highest ranked Big Ten school for social mobility. We need to be number 1. They play sports in the Big Ten. We have a new athletic director, Kelly Zinn. I know she's here. We're going to RNIO our way to winning. Y'all know what RNIO is? Rutgers NIL. You see, when I played baseball, they didn't give you any money. And remember, I didn't even have any jerseys. Today, it's a little bit different. You win if you pay. You don't want to embrace that? I thought Jersey was tougher than that. We're going to do it. We're going to win. Now, this is an interesting slide, this thing called Rutgers Health. I want to make something very clear today as we go along. It says 2.3 million patient visits, and it's really small. It says RWJ Barnabas Health and University Hospital on there. Well, we have a medical school, but we need a clinical partner. I'm committed to working with that clinical partner with Rutgers Health. We're going to be world-class, 100% in everything we do. Our cancer center, the whole enterprise, that's how we're going to move Middlesex forward. I'm excited to work in that partnership because I know people need good health. Now, do a lot of great things at Rutgers, 71,000 students, almost $1 billion in research. All our campuses are in the top 50. Great technology transfer, great industry partnerships, Big Ten roots, big city reach. We have a lot of opportunity. But I'm going to say this to you. Opportunity is lost without focus. In the age of perpetual commentary and curated outrage, The call from 1 Thessalonians 4:11 sounds almost subversive. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, mind your own business, and work with your hands. At first glance, this counsel from Paul may seem out of step with the visibility expected of university leaders. Yet for a community like Rutgers, born of conviction, service, and scholarship, his words align perfectly with our founding vision and motto, Sun of Righteousness, shine upon the West. Quietness, in the Pauline sense, is not silence. It is steadiness. It means being anchored in a conviction, not reacting to every passing storm. For the Rutgers leader, this quietness reflects the composure of a mind illuminated by knowledge and the courage of heart guided by purpose. The Son of Righteousness calls us not to hide from the world's noise, but to bring light and clarity to it. To mind your own business is to steward our shared calling. Paul's phrase is not isolationist, it is a call to focus. To mind our work is to stay centered on our mission, advancing learning, discovery, opportunity, without distraction or distortion. To work with your hands reflects our tradition of engaged excellence. Paul's exhortation dignifies labor of every kind, reminding us that intellectual and practical work are equally sacred. We win together. Paul concludes that such a life wins the respect of outsiders. In an era defined by speed, spectacle, and performative acts, we have a moment to demonstrate our commitments to opportunity. It exists in every zip code and income bracket in New Jersey. It is limited only by our collective focus and imagination. When it comes to students, excellence can be found everywhere. Finding it and letting it flourish drives our state, our university, our communities forward. We must commit to investing in opportunity. Now, if you thought I was having a speech and not going to ask you for money, you're very much mistaken. We have 3 scholarship programs. One of them I learned about while I was president of LSU. We were searching the literature for a program that would help us reach into communities near Baton Rouge and pull out the most talented young people who heretofore had never applied to LSU. They had every single criteria you would want in a student, except for, just like those young people that I showed you in my baseball team, they didn't have the people to come pull them out. Well, our search led us to Rutgers. Stunningly, the Rutgers Future Scholars Program was replicated at LSU. Well, it serves over 215 first-generation low-income, academically talented middle school students here in New Brunswick, Piscataway, Camden, and here in Newark. The opportunity to begin their journey towards a college education. It's stunningly powerful. If you've never visited it, please do. We also have the Scarlet Promise Initiative. This is an empowering program to take talented young people and give them financial and academic support towards their degree so they can manage it without the great debt that's associated with higher education. And today, I want to formally announce a 3rd fund. You know, I've been talking a lot about the Rutgers Edge. Well, we're announcing the Edge Fund, not the hedge fund, the Edge Fund. It is created for students whose brilliance crosses categories: artists, scientists, coders, writers, competitors in non-revenue sports. Some of you think everybody's on scholarship because they have Rutgers across their chest and they play sports. Most of those kids don't. We need to support them. They have a genius, all of these kids, that we need to support. These are the future inductees to the New Jersey Hall of Fame. We need to celebrate these thinkers. We need to honor them. We need to have an opportunity created for them. The scholarships, well, they're for people who see possibility where others see limit. Opportunity lives in our spirit of generosity. Rutgers gives life to opportunity to so many lives. We must avoid an NJ.com obituary of this type. Today, we mourn the death of an old friend. Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey, who lived among us for many centuries. She was born in 1766, parented by the Dutch Reformed Church, and originally known as Queen's College. She later pledged herself to Colonel Henry Rutgers, adopting his name and character, steadfast, civic-minded, and faithful to pursue knowledge. She made many invaluable contributions: a system of academic institutions, research and discovery, economic development, healthcare, agricultural extension across the state, the first collegiate football game, a legacy of teachers, doctors, lawyers, social workers, engineers, business leaders, nonprofit innovators, artists, and creative minds across disciplines. Rutgers lived by complex but honorable financial principles, spending only what she could generate or responsibly borrow, and she maintained a proud tradition of faculty and staff governance. Her health began to deteriorate when she lost sight of her core values: passionate discovery, truth-seeking, empathy, and courage. Reports began to circulate of well-intended leaders closing humanities and fine arts departments, wrongly arguing that they lacked economic value. Empathy waned, revealed in declining philanthropic support and a lack of will to organize around a true cycle of opportunity agenda. The university's failure to reflect the state's changing demographics only deepened her fragility. Her inability to embrace her Big Ten identity finally crushed her in the marketplace. Rutgers lost ground when leaders advanced pet projects that lacked synergy, interdependence, and strategic purpose. Projects that failed to translate discovery from molecules to markets. She could not sustain her academic medical center or her healthcare partnerships. Self-interest reigned, and the university took a public beating when she could no longer defend her actions in this very newspaper. She surrendered her will to live when former students, unprepared for the demands of human connection, revolted. Deprived of humanistic and STEM preparation, they found themselves unable to think critically, read deeply, or collaborate to solve problems. In protest, thousands shouted, "You betrayed the line in the alma mater. Learning's fair and honor shine," on the banks of the old Raritan. She was preceded in death by her parents, teaching and learning, by her husband, discovery, by her daughter, truth, by her son, academic freedom, by her sister, University Hospital, by her brother, Rutgers Cancer Center Institute, by her niece, fairness, also called equality, by her nephew, merit, and his child, peer review. She is survived by 6 stepbrothers, X, formerly known as Twitter, generative AI, micro-credential, fake news, pseudoscience, and ahistorical thinking. No one attended her funeral. Camden, New Brunswick, and Newark have become ghost towns after the COVID-25 pandemics. And the rest of the state dismissed the obituary as fake news planted by a Seton Hall operative. Hallelujah. She's not dead yet. Opportunity lives. Thank you.
And now please rise and join the members of the Rutgers Glee Club under the direction of Dr. Matthew Zabigala in singing the Alma Mater.
From far and near we came to Rutgers and resolved to learn all that we can. And so we settled down in that noisy college town on the banks of the old Raritan. On the banks of the old Raritan, my friends, where old Rutgers evermore shall stand. For has she not stood since the time of the flood on the banks of the old Raritan? Then sing aloud to alma mater, and keep the scarlet in the van. For with the motto high, Rutgers' name shall ever die on the banks of the old Raritan. On the banks of the old Raritan, my friends, where old Rutgers evermore shall stand. For has she not stood since the time of the flood on the banks of the old Raritan? On the banks of the old Raritan, my friends, where old Rutgers evermore shall stand. For has she not stood since the time of the flood on the banks of the old Raritan?